Today's assignment is to use proportional relationships 4 different ways. So we are going to represent it by a T-chart, a graph, the COP or the constant of proportionality, and an equation. So let's go ahead and look at letter A together. It says if you can buy 1 can of pineapple chunks for $2, then how many can you buy for $10? So what we're going to do is go ahead and identify what is going to be our X value and what is going to be our Y value. So our can of pineapple is going to be our independent variable, so this is going to be our X value. Our price depends on how many cans we buy, so our price is going to be our dependent or our Y value, so $2. So we know in our chart, what we know already, we can buy 1 can for $2. So X is my cans, Y is my money amount or my dollars. Now it says, then how many can you buy for $10? So $10 has to go in my money column here. So for $10, and we want to know how many cans we can buy. So the first thing that we need to do is figure out what our COP is, or our constant of proportionality, because that is going to help us to determine how many cans we can buy. So remember that our COP is Y over X, and we have an X and Y value that are compared, so we can use that to figure out our COP. So our Y value would be 2, our X value is 1. So in this case, our COP is going to be 2, because 2 over 1 is the same thing as 2. Now what that is telling us is that this is what we can multiply our X value by to get our Y value. So 1 times 2 equals 2. Now we need to know how many cans to buy though. So to go the opposite direction, instead of multiplying, we are going to divide by 2. So 10 divided by our COP, which is 2, gives us 5. So our missing value in our chart is going to be 5. Now to write our equation, our COP is the same thing as our K value. So sometimes when we talk about COP, we call it Y over X, or we call it K. So K is also equal to 2. And the equation that we're using is Y equals KX. So this COP is just getting substituted in for the K value here. So our final equation then would be Y is equal to 2 times X, or 2X. The last thing that we want to do is go ahead and graph the values that are on our T-chart. So we have 1, 2. So on our chart, here's 1, 2. Remember that your X axis is always the horizontal and the Y is your vertical. And then 5, 10. So we're going to go all the way over to 5 and then up to 10. And then from there, we can go ahead and draw our line. So use a straight edge to make it nice and neat. And here is our graph. So you're going to have to do that for every single problem. You do all of those steps. So let's go ahead and look at B. 2 jars of crushed ginger cost $7. How many jars can you buy with $14? So again, we have to identify what is our independent and dependent variable. So independent is always my X. So in this problem, the jars that we buy are going to be my X. The cost is going to be my Y, because it's dependent on how many jars I buy. So when you start filling in our table, we have 2 jars, cost $7, and we want to know how many jars can you buy with $14. So 14 is going to go in the same column as our money, so it's going to go right here. So what we're trying to find then is how many jars we can buy with $14. Now some of you probably can see this right away what it's going to be, but let's go ahead and use our equation y over x to find our COP. So our COP is going to be y over x, so we have 7 over 2 is going to be our COP. Let's go ahead and put that here. And what that means is if I multiply 2 times 7 over 2, it's going to give me 7. Let's see if that works just off to the side over here. If I take 2 times 7 over 2, is it equal to 7? Look at that. I could cancel these out and it would be equal to 7 over 1, which is the same thing as 7. So that does work. So that is going this direction. So to go the opposite direction, we are dividing by 7 over 2, which is also the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal, or 2 over 7. So you could also multiply by the reciprocal to go the other way. And that's probably going to be the easiest way to do this. So 14 times 2 over 7 is going to give us, let's go ahead and do that. So we have 14 times 2 over 7 going the opposite direction. Let's go ahead and cancel out what we have. The 7 cancels out with the 14. 7 goes into 7 one time. 7 goes into 14 2 times. So 2 times 2 gives us 4. So what that means is that our missing piece of our chart right here is 4. That goes right there. Okay, now we know our COP, so we can actually write our equation from there. So our COP is 7 over 2. Remember, this is our K value. Same thing. So if my equation is y equals Kx, 7 over 2 goes right where my K is. And my equation is y equals 7 over 2x. Last thing on our list is to graph our points. So using my chart, I have 2, 7 to point. So I'm going to go over 2, since this is my x-axis, 2, and up 7, to be right about there. And then 4, 14, which is right about there. So now I can go ahead and take my ruler or my straight edge and draw my line. Now remember, this is a proportional relationship, so it has to go through the origin. So it's going to go through 0, 0. So that's one of my other points. And there is my graph. So go ahead and continue working through the worksheet and do the other 4 problems, finding your COP, writing your equation, and finding the missing piece in your chart. And don't forget to graph it as well.